Hi everyone, this is Jeje and welcome or welcome back to Be Colorful. Today we're gonna continue with the mini-series of videos dedicated to the creative use of the small and cute dies included in the Tonic Craft Kit 52, going beyond the function for which they were designed. Are you ready for other ideas? Good, so let's start right away. One way to use small dies is to create our very own stencil. To create a stencil, you can use a sheet of paper, an acetate sheet, or one of those special sheets called Miller. I cut it out, forming a 4 3/4 by 6 inches rectangle. Then I start randomly die cutting the small garden tools and leaf included in the kit. Now that the stencil is ready, let's put it to work immediately. Of course, you can replicate the idea with the other tools included in the kit or with any small die that you have in your stash. So I created a panel on the coral pink classic card included in the kit, and now I'm going to position and temporarily fix the stencil with masking tape. I decided to use the light blue chalk mousse from the kit, so I'm going to apply it with a spatula. Once the mousse is spread, I gently remove the stencil, and here we go. Would you ever say it is a homemade stencil? I put the excesses of the chalk mousse back inside the pot and clean the stencil after use. If you need to reuse it immediately, as I will, let's clean it at least with a wet baby wipe or by spraying water. I let it dry. Once dry, I'm going to decide how to use the panel. I'm going to combine it with an ivory card base, and I'm going to choose other paper from those included in the kit. I think I go with this embossed light blue paper. I die cut the two cards with a stitch rectangle die, and I'm gonna arrange them like this. But now let's move on to the creation of the focal point. First of all, I'm going to create an oval panel on ivory cardstock, which will be the background for the focal point. My idea is to make a small pot with this die from the kit, which was designed to create a pocket for the apron. So I die cut the pot on some craft paper. Next, with an oval die slightly larger than the other one, I'm going to die cut on some vellum, thus creating very delicate finishing edges. To create the flower, I'm gonna use one of the two dies included in the kit, die cutting both on the pink pearlescent paper and on the ivory pearlescent paper. On pistachio green paper, I'm going to cut out the stem of the flower and die cut another flower. I'm gonna use the small petals to create the leaves. Now all the elements are ready, so let's start assembling my focal point. Here we go, really cute. On a strip of ivory cardstock, I'm going to stamp Happy Birthday with my VersaFine Onyx Black. I'm going to emboss it with a clear embossing powder just to make sure I don't accidentally smudge it. I cut it out, forming a very thin strip. And now I'm ready to glue everything with liquid glue or foam pad to create dimension. As a finishing touches, I'm going to create a few drops here and there with the yellow Dream Drops from the kit. Also for this card I'm gonna use the stencil I created earlier, but this time I'm gonna use the yellow Dream Drop from the kit instead of the chalk mousse. I created a 4¼ by 5½ panel on ivory cardstock, and after temporarily fixing the stencil with masking tape, I proceeded to spread the Dream Drops. To avoid waste, as you can see, I apply a little product in the spatula. With this bottle, it would be practically impossible to store the excesses back inside the bottle. Once I finished applying the product, I remove the stencil and clean it immediately. The Dream Drops has a glue base, and if it dries, I would no longer be able to remove it from the stencil. Meanwhile, the panel will dry. Now that the panel is dry, check out the beautiful iridescent effect of the Dream Drop. Amazing! I shortened the panel on the right and left side only, forming a 3¾ by 5½ inches rectangle. Then I'm gonna choose a paper from those included in the kit to create finishing edges for my panel. I go for the cherry red classic card. As you can see, the finishing borders will only be on the left and right side this time. Let's now pass to the creation of the focal point. As with the previous cards, I'd like to suggest another way to use the dies creatively, creating a lovely wicker basket. To do this, I'm gonna use the die to create the apron pocket, the one to create the neck strap, and this one to create a decorative stripped panel. I'm gonna die cut on chocolate cardstock. I need 2 of these semicircles, one for the base of the basket and one to make edges. In fact, with the help of the die, I draw a line and cut out the internal shape. In this way, I get, in fact, the edges. On the edges, I glue die-cut strips of paper vertically. I leave some space between each strip. And now let's start with the weaves. I take a strip of paper and slip it horizontally between the vertical strips. I start by slipping it from below, then I pass it over the next vertical strip, then below and again above, alternating like this until the end. With the second horizontal strip, if we first started by slipping it under, now we start by inserting it from above, and we proceed alternating below, above. Third strip, I start from below since first I started from above, and alternate above and below. Once the weaves are finished, I glue everything together. I cut out the excesses following the borders of the semicircle, then cut the handle, and here we go! It is very cute already. Now on the cherry red classic card, I'm going to die cut a lot of hearts with the die of the kit. This heart will fill the little basket as if they were berries. In fact, as a sentiment, I'm gonna compose the phrase I love you very much instead of I love you very much. Now that the basket is full, I glue the handle. I absolutely love this basket. I decided to add 3 decorative strips on the bottom of the panel because it looked nice to add a touch of light blue color to this card, in my opinion. As I already said, I'm going to create the sentiment by stamping the sentence with this alphanumeric set of stamps, everything except the word berry, which I die cut with this set of dice. I remind you that to compose the word correctly with this type of stamps, you must arrange the word in a mirror way. I stamp with VersaFine Onyx Black, and I'm going to hit embossing the stamp, just not to risk ruining everything while the stamp is not dried well. Finally, I cut them out, forming very thin strips. Then I die cut the word berry. I die cut each letter 3 times. I glue them one on top of the other to create dimension. After gluing the sentiment on the card base, I also add some hearts out of the basket, gluing some with liquid glue, others with foam pad. I refine the card by adding glitter with the Nuvo Aqua Shimmer Pen. And we have reached the end of the third part of this mini-series. I look forward to seeing you in the next video for another fantastic idea on how to use the mini dies. How do you think I'll use them? Write it to me below in the comments. And don't forget to leave me a thumbs up if you liked the video. Thanks for stopping by, see you soon, bye bye, and be colorful!